my ACL, my MCL, and both meniscuses in one blow. From up here on the world to on the floor looking through the sky, looking at the stars, wondering what happened to me. If you've ever seen the cartoons with the birdies, that was me. I just didn't really have them. I just saw them, okay? It was a bad day. It's a bad day. It ruined any kind of sport potential if I had any. Who knows? But I don't need to know anymore because it never happened anyway. It ruined sport potential. It ruined my senior year. It ruined my basketball season, which I didn't even get to touch the court. But more importantly, it took the one thing that I had in life, which was sports, and it stripped it away from me. And I remember how I responded because I had nothing else. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. We turn to things that we shouldn't, temporary things that we think will get us through. God doesn't tempt us, but he tests us. Yes, did he allow me to run down the football field and tear my knee in half? Yes. Because he had a plan. And it's because of that injury today, I promise you that I stand on this stage in front of you. Did I enjoy it? No. Was it fun? No. It was brutal. It was a torturous few years of my life, but those few years changed the trajectory of my life and put me in his will. Do you see the difference? And so we can go through trials and we can say, God, why are you doing this to me? You're torturing me. I don't get it. Or we can say, Lord, I don't know why, but I'm going to trust you. Because I know that once I get through this moment, what's on the other side is going to be that much better. That's how we need to live our lives. That's what he's called us to do. I have the privilege tonight to share with you a story about two girls that are right here in this ministry. They are wonderful, dear friends of mine that I love with all of my heart. And they sort of experienced a trial in their life, both of them. So what I want to do today is I'm going to show you this video, and I want us to watch as they explain their trial, and I want you to watch as they explain how they pulled it through.
My name is Megan Dana, and I'm 23 years old. I was born in Houston, and I serve in Underground as an assistant director.
I'm Jessica, and I'm from Houston. I'm 19 years old, and I lead worship for Underground.
Growing up, the person who had the largest impact in my life was my mom, Kim Cox.
And for me, it would be my mom and my sister.
I remember I was 21 and engaged to the man of my dreams, my best friend. I loved my job as a girls' ministry intern. I was in the midst of planning a summer full of girls' events and also planning a wedding that next winter. I will never forget May 4th, 2008. I spent the day with my family and my fiance looking at a wedding venue that I planned on getting married in. I remember walking down the aisle through the double doors, pretending to dance at my wedding reception. We were in this bubble of wedding excitement and fun. I mean, it was a great time. And as the day proceeded, I went to an Astros game with two of my students at the time and some coworkers. And it just wasn't a normal Astros game, because that night I was on the kiss cam. Pretty much, it was a perfect and memorable day. After dropping off the two students and saying goodbye to Frank, I headed home. I drove down the same road that I drove down every day to get home. It was a dark, two-way road. I was about 2 minutes away from the house, so I called Frank, my fiance, to let him know that I was almost home safely and to say my goodnights. And as I'm driving down the road, a car is coming my direction and it is swerving. So just out of precaution, I began to slow down and get as far to the right lane as I could without driving off the road. Within a split second, something had come through my windshield and hit me. I pull over, I stop the car, I honk my horn and scream for help, hoping that someone in some nearby home would help me. I find the phone with my fiance still on the other end and just cry for help, telling him, I think I'm blind, help me, call the ambulance. Within an instant, people were there to help me. I was sat on the grass where I could hear my mother, who had been there just in a second, what it felt like. And as she's walking towards me, she sits me down. She realizes the damage that has been done to my face, as do I, as time is going by. And she just calms me down. She tells me that it's gonna be okay. She comes behind me and I lean against her as I'm encircled by paramedics, asking 100 different questions in this midst of chaos and lights, which at that time let me know that it had been a paving stone, a large round brick that had come through my windshield and struck me in the left side of my face. I remember thinking as I sat there on the side of the road with a towel on my face that someone had purposely done this to me. I didn't know why, but I knew that I could either freak out in that moment or I was going to believe what I said I was going to believe, and I was going to trust God with my life. My injuries consisted of chipped teeth, a large laceration on the left side of my face that would ultimately leave me scarred, a broken jaw, which kept me from eating solid food for over 2 months. The left side of my eyelid was completely split in two. And then also my tear duct on the same eye was nicked, which they had to reshape by using a tiny tube, which they had to loop through my nose. It was the most uncomfortable thing. But above all that, the whole left side of my face was completely shattered. The doctors described it as if you took a glass plate and you broke it into tiny pieces, and then you took those tiny pieces and you broke them again. So those tiny pieces that were once bones had to be reconstructed by using titanium. The doctors would have to go in and make 4 incisions on my face, which would leave more scarring. All in all, it took 7 hours of reconstructive surgery, 3 surgeons, 5 days in the hospital, and 8 months plus of healing time.
And then, 18 months later, January 1st, 2010, there was 5 of us in the car, and I was in the back middle seat, and we were riding along listening to some songs. As we were turning, an 18-wheeler had hit us all the way through an overpass to the other side of the road through a brick wall. And I remember asking, where are my parents? I had remembered that when the EMS people came, I was being wheeled into the ambulance on the most uncomfortable stretcher ever. I remember them trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and me asking where my family was. And so then all of a sudden I heard a familiar voice, and I remember it was my mother. She walked right beside my side and she said, "Jessica, it's your mommy, and everything's gonna be okay."